It's a gold and silver line two-way street. Creators have a responsibility to provide quality content to the best of our ability, and as viewers, you have to choose wisely. It doesn't matter if you're stacking, collecting, or investing in silver and gold, you always have to own your own results. Therefore, you also have to be really mindful of the advice you seek and receive, because after all, it's your gold, silver, and wealth at risk. I've tried several different openings to this video and nothing seemed to work or fit. I think because deep down I'm really conflicted. I've been trying to decide whether or not I'm going to choose peace or choose verbal violence. Let me get straight to it. As creators, none of us are perfect. We don't get it all right, and you're not always going to agree with us. And to be clear, that includes me. But sometimes people can go too far and say something so outlandish that we as creators have to say something. Well, there's your hint that I definitely am choosing verbal violence. While it's not my role or purpose to call out people, I do feel like sometimes we ignore things and we ignore them to our own detriment. And I'm speaking as a creator, which means there are only two things left before we can really get into this. Identify what the issue is and who did it. The issue is relatively easy. The who is the bigger problem. I've debated this back and forth, and while I prefer not to call out names, I'm also a straight up type of dude. And to me, that means going straight at the person and not doing some subliminal type stuff. Plus, in this video, you offer to debate anyone. So here we go. I was minding my own business yesterday morning and I saw a video on my feed that got my attention. Hey, great job, you got my attention. And the title was, quote, "Gold and silver better than real estate, the numbers don't lie." That was from Silver Star Eagles. I shared this previously, but let me just recap. 18 years ago, I started investing in real estate and I made a tremendous amount of money as an investor and as a loan officer. As an investor, I own multiple fourplexes. My first property was a duplex. I own multiple single family homes at the same time in multiple states. I bought homes with literally no money down, 20% down. I've done 1031 exchanges. I've owned several of my own personal residence. I've done single family loans, multifamily property loans, loans for $100,000 and $1 million deals. I've made and lost countless thousands of dollars during my career. And the one thing I know for certain is real estate. Now, I didn't share those details to flex. I shared those to make sure people understand that I speak from a place of knowledge and of experience. I speak about what I know. Good and bad, success and failure. So let's just talk about it. Like I said, I'm minding my own dang business, so I tune in. And the first words out of his mouth are, quote, "Making a quote unquote profit in real estate is a fallacy. It's a lie, and I'm going to prove it to you. It's an illusion," end quote. So I'm like, okay, you're just gonna go straight in, no lube, nothing? All right. He continues with, quote, "If you're trying to protect your wealth, gold and silver win every time." So I'm like, okay, we aren't even 20 seconds in, and I'm like Drake in the song I'm Upset. So what's next? Jump out of the bed, I'm possessed. Jump out the bed like I'm possessed, but you know what I mean. Anyway, and his argument focuses on the primary residence that people have. So let me give you the scenario and his rationale, and then we're gonna shut this nonsense down. He proposed a hypothetical house purchase in 1950 for $100,000. Don't worry about the dates and numbers, just an example. Someone buys this house for $100,000 with $20,000 down. That leaves them with an $80,000 mortgage. For the sake of discussion, he said we're going to ignore interest and taxes. Cool. From there, fast forward 20 years, and now the person who bought the house for $100 has paid down the mortgage to the tune of $30,000. So there's $50,000 of equity in the house. And then all of a sudden they decide to sell the house for $150,000. Their $20,000 down payment plus the $30,000 principal they pay down means the owner has $50K in equity, $50K left on the mortgage, which means if they sell the house for $150,000, we're going to ignore fees and all that, the owner will receive $100,000 back. He then argues that the additional $50,000 is not a profit. Quote, "It's simply your dollars adjusted for inflation." So let's just stop right here. Following that is his logic. Your original $50K increasing to $100K is inflation adjusting your dollars. So that must mean inflation was 200%? Someone please tell me how that makes sense, or when inflation was ever 200%, because I'll wait for that answer. Apparently, I must not know the definition of profit. So let me ask you another question. If I take that $100,000 and I buy a house, and I fix the house up and I flip it for $150,000 in less than, let's say, 30 days, is the $50,000 in profit inflation adjusted dollars back just 30 days? I get $50,000, it's not a profit now, it's adjusted dollars for inflation? Come on. This whole argument is so ridiculous. It's not even ASA 9, it's ASA 10, ASA 11, maybe ASA 12. Some of you will remember that Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless reference later on. He then argues if you're truly making a profit, you would be able to move from that home into a bigger home, and typically that's not the case. And he says people usually have to settle for the same type of home or downgrade. It's all an illusion. Are you kidding me? Yeah, no, that's exactly what people do. They take the money from their starter home and roll it into their next home. So in this scenario, the person could simply take their $100,000 and they could easily buy a $500,000 house with 20% down. Now the payment's gonna be higher, sure, but that's not what we're discussing. So then he had the audacity to say, real estate is a terrible way to protect your dollar. So let's put this inflation nonsense to bed by simply just sharing what the professionals have to say. On the screen, there's some quotes. You can read them all yourself. Pause if you're really interested. I'm just going to highlight. However, while real estate and gold are each hard assets and can be powerful inflation hedges, they don't tend to move together in real terms. Real estate values and rents not only tend to keep pace with inflation, but they actually drive inflation itself. As a result, they often rise faster than the official CPI inflation index. Let's continue. If you want more information, simply go and Google gold to housing ratio, and you can see the real estate and gold prices and how they cycle and how it goes above and below the mean at different points in our history. I don't have time to cover that right now, but hey, I'm so fired up, I might cover that soon. I can agree that your personal residence is not an asset because it doesn't put money in your pocket and it does cost you money. But here's something else you completely miss. One, when you sell your gold, do you have to pay taxes on your profits? Yes. When the other person sells their home, do they have to pay taxes on their profits? No. Okay, let's move on. Here's the biggest point you don't seem to understand. Real estate offers leveraged growth, something we just can't get with physical gold and silver. Let me explain. That $20,000 down payment allowed that owner to buy a $100,000 house that provides an average return of 5%. Not on the $20,000, but on the $100,000. It's called appreciation, which is part of the inflation hedge real estate offers. That's where the other $50,000 came from. It wasn't a magic trick. The $30,000 pay down helped, but it was the $50,000 appreciation. Our gold can only appreciate by a factor of what we have in our possession. A 5% appreciation on a $100,000 house is $5,000. To make $5,000 off of your $20,000 in gold, it has to appreciate 25%. It's not an illusion. Your numbers lie to you because you don't understand the topic you're discussing. And while it's not my business, it's my responsibility to call out illogical, unfounded, and good old-fashioned bad information. While I know that you're a smart person, I don't think it was very smart for you to discuss something you don't fully understand and to put it out for viewers to take in. We have a responsibility as creators to do our very best to put out good, accurate information. You can do better, the viewers deserve better, and we as creators deserve better. And that's a standard we all have to live up to. I've got so much more in terms of data and graphs that prove my point. So if you want to continue this debate, I'm already loaded with more facts. But I'm going to stop here and turn my attention to my viewers because that's what's really important. Let's be clear. You will not always agree with me. And some of my positions or philosophies on investing, you may not agree with those as well. But you will always know where I stand and what kind of data and facts I use to make my basis or my determination. In my video, When Stacking Silver and Gold, Who You Listen to Matters, which I'm going to link at the end, I'm going to encourage and almost demand each of you watch that video next. And if you watched it before, watch it again. This is serious business, folks. If you take your money as seriously as I take my money, then we got to get this right. We work too damn hard at our jobs, take too much crap from bosses, fight against corrupt financial system, make sacrifices, and we struggle to save what we can so we can afford to convert as much of that paper into real money, be it an ounce a month or 100 ounces a month. It doesn't matter. You got to guard your precious investments and guard who and what ideas you let into your head. In that video that I was referencing, I give you some of the questions to consider that I'm gonna throw right here. What training, education, and or experience does the person have to warrant you listening to them? What are they basing their information on? Is it gut, belief, hope, wishes, or facts, figures, and data? What's their track record? So I'm sorry about the tone and tenor of this video, as this is not how we usually get down in stackers, but I warned you. I'm like that Drake song, I'm upset. So what's next? Jump out of the bed like I'm possessed. Okay, we ain't got time for jokes, but I was trying to lighten the mood somehow, y'all. I don't know how else to say this, but there's a lot of goofy stuff out there. And it's a significant part of why I started this channel. I couldn't take the nonsense I was hearing and seeing on the platform. And like every other creator here, we have a responsibility to give you our best and the best information we can. Personally, if I don't know about something, best believe I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. I'd rather you think I'm a fool than open my mouth and prove it. In the comments section, share something that you learned from this video and how you're gonna use it going forward. Or comment whatever the heck you want to comment. I'm fired up right now. I probably need a drink and a cigarette. Watch out for the next video where I'm actually going to go into my specific wealth plan, and I'm actually going to show you how my plan is designed to take metals to help me create the next level of wealth, which involves real estate, businesses, and a few other things. It's time we stop limiting ourselves to stacking and grow into stacking investors. I'll explain that in the next video. You are definitely my A+ students for riding this crazy wave. Go have a drink after this because I know I'm going to have one too. Always stack smarter and never stop learning. One last thing, shout out to Cycling Philosopher and John in Phoenix and the other folks from Stackers that were trying to talk some sense to the people in the comment section of that video. Way to represent. Back to the outro.